I'm literally crying myself to sleep. Um, yeah, not a great time. It's also not nice to think about it. Hi, guys. Hope you're doing well on this Monday. I. Hi, guys. Hope you're doing well on this Monday. I am currently reading this book by Andre Aciman. So it's the guy who wrote Call Me By Your Name. This one's called The Gentleman from Peru, and I have to say it's kind of a heavy topic. It's talking about regret. Um, so yeah, I'm like halfway through the book, but I have to say that I have to read it in, small sections because after a while it can get a bit heavy. My mind starts kind of racing and I start to ask myself lots of questions about my own life and my own kind of life decisions and everything that's brought me here to Paris in 2025. But anyway, I thought I'd do an episode on, yeah, what brought me to Paris 4 years ago. So, you know, COVID hit. I was in London. I was in a job that I quite enjoyed, but, you know, I felt like I didn't really have a purpose. Maybe it wasn't fulfilling me, emotionally, professionally. And so during the pandemic, I went back to university. I was living in North London at the time, and I decided to apply to a 1 year master's at the University of Bath in the Southwest. And, because the year was 2020, it meant that 9 classes out of 10 for that master's were virtual. And, that's when Zoom and Teams, came to the fore. I wanted a change of scenery. I found myself an amazing house share in North Kensington, you know, a stone's throw away from Portobello Road. So it was like the north part of Kensington. So you have the advantage of, if you have a car, to be able to park your car in the entire borough of Kensington and Chelsea, which kind of stretches from, above Hyde Park all the way to the river Thames. Uh, but yeah, I was in a terrace house with 4 girls. It was a lovely house share. COVID was a difficult time emotionally, and I'm so happy that I was able to have that experience of having that support system of these 4 girls during a very difficult time. I started doing my classes for my master's. It was for interpreting and translation. uh, I had applied to um, translation from French and Spanish into my native English. So we had classes both on translation, but also interpreting and public speaking. And so I started to do these classes online. Um, I remember I went to Portobello Road Market on a Saturday, kind of in the late morning. And the market there, you can get, all sorts of things. You can get vintage clothes, you can get, antique furniture, old artwork. And so I arrived to Portobello Road quite late and I saw this lovely little wooden table. Um, it was kind of like, yeah, I feel like it was maybe what, one quarter the size of a standard desk here in Europe. And the merchant was like, um, you can have it for a tenner. So like I go to the local corner shop, I use the ATM, get out a tenner, and bring this table back to my room, and off I go doing my little classes like a good little student, remotely from London. Um, at the time, I was seeing this guy. We had been in a relationship for, I'd say, 1.5 years. Well, we had started dating in June of 2019. And so I started my master's in the fall of 2020. So indeed, we were at the 1.5 year mark. And just before, you know, Christmas break, my partner at the time decides to break up with me.